Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be on the spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly podcast series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Mekas, and if this is your first time, please click subscribe, like, follow, comment, or share, and also follow us wherever you listen to your podcast. Today, on this episode, we are going to empower your essence with Dr. Rex Kruhly. Is it Kruhly?
It is.
All right, I pronounced it right. Yeah. Founder of Depth Healing Technology, his multi-discipline crafts of health, quantum science, personal development, consciousness and brain research, classical Japanese sword, Zen, Aikido, oneness, and is it Dsha?
Dsha, yes.
Dsha, energy psychologies, brain reprogramming, military science, quantum biology, ecosystems, and spiritual, mystical experiences for over 51 years. His depth healing process uses cutting-edge quantum physics to help individuals remove cognitive dissonance from their subconscious minds. With this removal from the subconscious mind, limiting beliefs, traumas, negative thought patterns, and perceptions that no longer influence and affect our lives. Let's welcome to the show for the first time, Dr. Rex Kushida. Welcome, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for letting me be here today.
Very, very welcome. And it's an honor. I was looking over your this is just a small part of the bio because I didn't want to take up too much time reading it, because if I would have read the whole thing or read the whole thing, half the show would have been gone. But
well, I'm an old guy, so there's been a lot of water under the bridge. Absolutely.
The wiser you get, man. Absolutely.
Hopefully.
So you're chiming in from the was it Thailand, correct?
It's Thailand, Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Chiang Mai, Thailand. Yeah. Before we started, we were expressing some places around the world that we've been, and China and Cambodia for myself. But how did this all start for you? Did this start, 51 years working with this stuff? What got you into, what was the very first principle, very first thing that got you involved with what you're doing now?
I was born and incarnated for that purpose. So I knew what I was supposed to do at least by the age of 3.
Wow.
And my dad used to buy me, remember the big old full like Bristol boards, white ones. And I used to draw what you would consider a Noah's Ark, but it was a spaceship. And the objective, what I was going to take all of the people, the animals, everything, the whole Earth, to another planet where there's no war.
Wow.
So I did that all the way up to age 6. And I always knew what I'm supposed to do. And my dad would say, how are you going to do that? I'd say, I'm just going to do it, But then when I turned 6 and I failed grade 1, my father was a was a real good man, but he was a Polish. He was born from Polish immigrants during the Great Depression. He was a real proud man. And in those days in Windsor, Ontario, they used to publish the kids who passed and who failed in the newspaper.
Whoa.
So, yeah, they actually used to do that. So my father was humiliated in front of all of his buddies because I was his first son.
Mm.
So the whole family rejected me for the rest of my life emotionally. So I just became a zero. And during that time, the way the path shifted, I needed some way. I had to figure out some way to matter and for people to notice me and to be important. And my skill, at least I was a world-class elite martial artist. I went into martial arts. I'm always in the top 1 to 3% of martial art anywhere in the world. And I entered that realm, classical Japanese. I was an uchideshi for 8 years till I broke my back. When I was 27, I broke my back in half weight training. So uchideshi means I'm a protege to a great master.
Yeah.
And this isn't commercial garbage martial art. This is the real deal. So I put in a total that led me on a path. But see, in that path, I kept having huge injuries. So those huge injuries were designed for me so that I could learn how to heal and also how to understand people's suffering. The martial craft is not like you see on commercial martial art or what I call my way is I'm a samurai trained man. Samurai comes from the word saburo, which means to serve. So I served the master as his right hand man, like almost like you can think of sort of like a general's aide or a real refined butler.
Yeah.
And then I served the craft. So I sacrificed myself for a higher purpose to pass on that craft to the next generation. So then I'm getting those huge injuries, and those injuries led me to world renowned doctors like George Goodhart Jr., the creme de la creme. He was the founder of applied kinesiology. When I snapped my back in half at the age of 27, it was George who taught me how to heal. I healed it in 12 weeks with meditation.
Wow.
No back surgery, no brace, no nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually a whole lot easier than you think. The problem with doing quantum healing for something like that, like myself or Joe Dispenza, he was run over by a truck. So mine snapped in half, and so the spine is moving to the front on my sacral promontory. Dispenza was run over by a truck, and bone fragments were crushed into the spinal cord.
Ooh.
So both of us used a meditation to completely heal that. I'm a network doctor, so I do reorganizational healing, and it's all based in consciousness. Dispenza is trained as he was a chiropractor also. He's trained as a Gonstead man. So he's like Gonstead is like the king of structural engineering of the skeletal system. So his meditation is very complex, mine very simple, based on Jose Silva's, if you're familiar with Jose Silva, they call it the mind control method. It's a very simple, you just program the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind will heal whatever it is. The only issue is you have to have enough time and you have to have enough intensity to do that. So while I was crippled, I'm living at home. So mom's cooking for me. I have a place to sleep. I'm safe. Ford's gave me disability, so there's money coming in. and everything's fine. So I would meditate like 4 hours a day. And then in 12 weeks, my back was all sealed up, and that was verified by CAT scans at Providence Hospital under Dr. Sidney Goldman in Michigan. So but you see what that whole big long path, I'm learning two things. One, how to be of service, and how to have the vigilance to really provide service. I'm learning how to heal through my own injuries, and I'm studying from these great doctors. And then when I decided to become a doctor in my 40s, I apprenticed under 4 great master doctors. The last one taught me the quantum field, Dr. Larry Habersky. I studied under him for 8 years, and that's why I can do what I do now. Without him, no way. I wouldn't have a clue nobody ever heard of what I do.
Yeah. Especially now, as far as the doctors today, such as yourself, and that are studying the quantum field, is there many of them?
No. There's only me that can do what I do. Mm-hmm. Dr. Habersky is a great master. Sue Morter is a real fine master. Larry and Sue, I don't believe they do any distance healing.
Yeah.
I'm a distance healer, and I channel the great compassionate light, the Param Jyoti, directly. So when I'm doing what I am, the great compassionate light taught me how to do this. I learned the fundamental science of bioenergetic synchronization technique from Dr. Habersky. That system was developed by Ted Morter. Dr. Habersky, in my opinion, is his greatest student. Dr. Habersky is in the class by himself. Yeah. And he also is very highly connected with the divine. So he taught me how to converse. Like one of the main things for working this kind of work. Can you see me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
One of the lights changing in the morning.
Yeah, sun's coming up, man.
One of the most important keys to anything like this is you have to be able to accurately talk to the field, talk to consciousness, talk to their nervous system, to their subconscious mind. And if you're channeling the divine, you need an accurate ability and bond to do that.
Yeah.
If you don't have the bond, it's all it is la la land. So you have to cultivate the bond. You have to have knowledge of the science and the frequencies and how all that works. And then you need an accurate way. So I use self-kinesiology, and I'm surgically accurate. And that's how I can deal with severe chronic diseases, or it doesn't really matter what it is. I can deal with it as long as the only thing I cannot do, there are 10 programs that order all life. I can handle programs 3, 4, and 5. So program 3 begins at conception in the womb through to your birth to the end of the first 6 hours after you exit mom. Program 4 is from the end of those first 6 hours until you're about to turn 7. Program 5 is age 7 to whatever age you are now. So I can influence that directly. That's the area I work in specifically.
Yeah.
Other programs greater than that, you require an avatar or the divine intervention directly. Wow. So I pray for those people if they have something like I can knock out certain generational curses or things from programs 1 and 2, but only a little bit.
Yeah.
You need divine intervention to go in and really be able to remove those things.
Now, how does this differ? How does the depth healing work, and how does it differ from other healing modalities?
Okay, so so first of all, it's a combination of the quantum edge cutting science, quantum physics. It's applied in real time. And luckily now they have enough science to know how that mechanism works. That's where, when you see the division now called energy psychologies, depth healing would fall into that kind of a category. And what it's using is frequencies, two kinds, destructive interference waves and constructive interference waves. Now, the difference with me is I don't need a scalar machine or a Rife machine or anything. I'm empowered so that it channels all through me.
Yeah.
So when I'm using a destructive interference wave, I have empowerments through Tibet. When I use constructive interference waves, I'm empowered through India. And how do we know I actually have those empowerments? Everyone gets better. Everything happens right now in real time.
Evidential.
And I've been doing this for 12 years. So the other thing that really sets depth healing apart is I can work with massive collectives, up to 20,000 people at one time. So I do that. I call it morphic field physics. So if a simple way to understand that is, let's say laptops represent people. And let's say you have, let's give it a nice number like 300 laptops. So the laptops are different from all over the world. So they're all completely different. So the software in each laptop is very, 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 very different. The software of each laptop is the subconscious mind, the subconscious fundamental data.
Yeah.
Up to the ages before the age of 7. Now, all of those computers, all those laptops are connected to the cloud. They can all access the Google Cloud. The Google Cloud is a morphic field. What is a morphic field? It's an electromagnetic field that is able to bind or contain photons of light that encode or hold the information. And the laptop, it's a feed forward, feed backward system. So from the laptop, you can go to the cloud, and from the cloud can come back to the computer. So what I do is when I do morphic field physics, you have a big collective of 300 people, and we're going to go after a common concern, like say the fear of failure. So I go into the cloud, I unite them, and then they're, as an emergent property of those 300, they have their own cloud. And I work in the cloud. I locate the signature frequency correlating to the fear of failure. And it's different for each of those computers because one guy is born in Africa, another guy is born in China, one guy's born in Manhattan, the other. So they have very different perceptions of the fear of failure. But the fear of failure is still the same in the cloud. So when I eliminate it completely in the cloud, it's eliminated in all of the computers.
Wow.
So that's the thing that separates depth healing. And the other thing is depth healing. The reason I call it depth healing is because most systems go into the subconscious about 40, 50%. They can go deep. I can go like 98% deep. So I go right in to the very first download perception of whatever is giving them a problem now.
Yeah.
And I eliminate it. When I eliminate it, I mean it's gone. When you say it's gone, if you think of those photons of light as like little soap bubbles,
Yeah.
I burst them. When they're gone, they're gone. Then the brain reorganizes, the entire field reorganizes. That changes their perception, which changes their vibration. And then by the law of resonance, their world changes, their health changes, everything changes. Because it all runs by the law of resonance. The
Yeah.
whole universe runs by the law of resonance.
Huh. Wow. Now, besides your own breakthrough, do you have any case studies of success of
Oh yeah, yeah.
breakthrough that you'd
And
like to share?
I put them on. I put a lot of testimonials on my website, folks. That you can go there too and see. What kind of testimony? What kind of case study do you want to know?
Which one really stands out? I'm sure they all do. And for those who are listening, go to Dr. Kruhly's website at www.depthhealing.org.
Yeah. So one of the ones I'll give you a couple of things. So I work with a lot of real estate people for business. I handle a business for people, and you'll see on the website there's a testimonial from Adam Bauer. So Adam got a hold of me. He's very easy to work with because he's very crystal clear. I took him in a matter of a couple of sessions from this level of being successful in LA to here. So he's now one of the top real estate people in all of LA.
Yeah.
So we changed that his trajectory for his wealth and his success. I had the general manager of 5-star hotel, and he was working in Bangkok. He's from Holland. You'll see that case study it's an actual case study that was verified by a Dr. Ahmed in Bahrain, who is a MD, but he works with quantum science. So he has all of the highly sophisticated diagnostic for top science. Well, anyway, my client, Jan Kaiser, he'd been with Dr. Bahrain for 10 years. Now, he's a top flight general manager, and this is the huge 5-star hotel. So there's like, I don't know, 1,000 employees or something. It's enormous. It was also like the place from hell. I mean, it had every general manager that had gone in there either quit or was fired. And when my client got there, the stress and the negative energy there was a slew of entities I had to get rid of. Another healer tried to help him, couldn't do it, so she referred him to me.
Yeah.
So when I met him, he was on the verge of either a heart attack, a stroke, or a complete nervous breakdown.
Wow.
And the way his subconscious mind was perceiving his environment, he was perceiving himself under attack from every angle at all times.
Yeah.
Now he's the general manager. He's got to handle everything, but everything is against him. And he lives in the hotel. So he's in that energy field 24/7.
Yeah.
And
That
he's working like 16 to 18-hour days, which is, asinine. Well, anyway, when I met him, and if you know anything about how stress and fear works in physiology, when the amygdala is lit up like that and you're getting a massive dose of cortisol every day, all day, it'll shut off your immune system because it just shuts down the gut biome. So he came under my care, and I was seeing him about like once a week, and we literally made him superior to the entire environment. And at the end of that year, when he went to Bahrain, Dr. Ahmed's chart showed that he was healthier now than he's ever been in the 10 years Ahmed knew him. So what we did there was we literally made a human being virtually superior to the environment that he's embedded in.
Yeah.
And he conquered the whole thing. Now that's unprecedented. So I wrote up it's a case study with his testimonial and what Ahmed said, and then I also explained the physiology and biology of stress and how all that works. So we accomplished that. I had a case of what are they called? Unresponsive Lyme's disease that had crippled a lady for 30 years. We removed it. It's gone, done. What else? Just about everything or anything, because the depth healing is designed to handle everything or anything.
Yeah.
As far as entities go, that's very, very common if you don't know that. So I've had, I take care of post-traumatic stress syndrome in usually 1 to 2 hours, and it's gone. I had one case where the lady was a trekker, and her and her boyfriend, I think it was New Guinea. They had the idea of walking through the jungle, just the two of them, all the way across the island in the jungle.
Yeah.
And they were tracked down by a group of men that were all made up, you know. They beat the living hell out of the kid. They raped the hell out of her. And then in the process, she got lacerated, her arm, and she was going to bleed out. Now she's as tough as nails. Luckily, the kid was totally traumatized. He was useless. She convinced them if they could to take all of their stuff and money, but let them live. So meanwhile, blood's coming out. So she's in real good shape, and they didn't have their maps or anything, but she remembered the trail that as they had walked. And way back down there was a village, and she ran with her arm up to try to not bleed out.
Yeah.
And they made it. So that was years ago, and she became my client. She was referred to me, and I just removed that. I just disassemble it, and once it's gone, it's a done deal. It's not necessary to have medication or tons of therapy or anything. The trick is the subconscious mind is not in your head. The only thing that's in your head is an antenna system. And they know that now. That Bruce Lipton, one of my favorite microbiologists, they have I think it's called a magnetoencephalogram now. They can see thinking is outside your head. It's not in your head. Your head is just an antenna array, and it's tuned to certain types of frequencies. Everyone is different.
Yeah.
Now, the subconscious is a field. Just like if you look at the ocean, think of the ocean as a liquid field. And the subconscious for you is continuous with the unconscious, then the collective unconscious, and then it goes into the extended to the universe. So if you understand the way we get programmed, and you understand how to locate and eliminate the imprints or the negatives, it's gone. When it's gone, your perception changes. When your perception changes, the perception gives you your frequency.
Yeah.
And your world is simply a printout of your frequency, your vibration. That's why it's so important to have a high consciousness, high vibration, so that you exist in a beautiful, high, abundant world.
Yeah.
If you're not, it means that your frequency is low. Something is dragging you down.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me too of, I've been saying this for a long time, and this is probably going to be one of the chapters in my book, is the perception that we have of the world around us is our perception. It's individual to us. we can change that perception, and by changing that perception of the world around us is what, will help us manifest the energies that we want, the life that we want.
Yeah,
But we
that's
always
exactly.
get trapped into this, thing of failure or fear, and now it changes that perception.
Yeah.
So,
See, if you want me to explain why that is the way it is?
yeah, yeah.
It's really simple, folks, and this is the source of all human suffering and all human struggle. Okay, but we're designed by God like this because it's a survival mechanism.
Mm.
So let's understand the moment. The astrologers love the moment you're born, which is really a big deal. But the moment of your conception is enormous. And science just recently now is starting to understand what the mystics have been saying for thousands of years. At that moment of conception, they know at least that the attitude and the energy of mom and the energy and attitude of dad and their thoughts at the time that they're making love, that is imprinted into the sperm and the egg. It's far, far, far bigger than that. But basically, as soon as you get conceived, and then the subconscious begins. Now, a lot of science, they'll say it takes like to the third trimester. Not in my model. In my model, it starts right away,
Huh.
right away. And the big shot right now that'll back that up is Dr. Michael Levin. If you want to see some cool stuff, you look up Michael Levin. So the subconscious mind records information at a rate of 40 million bits of information a second.
Wow.
40 million. It's recording it 24/7, nonstop. None of it belongs to you. It's mom, dad, the environment, and everything around, but it's none of it. You just taking it in literally like a vacuum cleaner sucking up dust.
Yeah.
Now, the subconscious goes all through the womb, and then the birthing process is recorded in the detail of 40 million bits of information per second. And then everything that happens in those first 6 hours, how you're received, what was said, that is enormously important, those first 6 hours. And
Yeah.
it shows up in your field, in your life around the age of 30.
Wow.
And then from those 6 hours until you're going to turn 7, that thing, all it's doing is recording. At 7 years old, the frontal cortex, this little bitty area right here, it turns on. It is not turned on until you turn 7. So why are we built that way? Well, let's take a kid that's born in the Amazon Delta in a tent in the jungle, and let's take another kid and they're born in Manhattan, New York. The environment in Manhattan, New York, the parents, the city, everything is very different from being born in a tent on the Amazon Delta. So their subconscious mind that is absorbing all of the environment and their parents and everything is so that you have the software and the data that the brain, when it activates, it can use. So none of that information is yours, but it's the fundamental information. By the time you turn 7, if you do the math, it's about 10 quadrillion bits of information in the subconscious fundamental database.
Yeah.
So then this starts. You're 7. You're getting socialized. Start to go through school and everything. But every single moment that this works, and it only processes 40 bits of information per second. it runs everything and anything that it hears or perceives through the database, because that's its database.
Yeah.
So that database controls the value system, controls the perception. That database says that such and such is good, or such and such is bad, such and such is dangerous, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The data up to the age of 7 is already telling you, has all kinds of stuff, whether you can be successful or not successful, if you're a good kid or a bad kid, if you're loved or not loved. All those things are already all in there. And then when this kicks in, because it's using that data, many times it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And when we have a big emotional situation, we make what we call a fundamental childhood decision. And the childhood decision is not based on logic or wisdom. So it can be completely wrong or irrational, but it forms a program. And then those programs play. I had program, because my dad was a great man, but he grew up with poverty consciousness.
Yeah.
Because he was born from Polish immigrants during the Great Depression. So I had imprinted in me, money's very hard to come by, and so many beliefs from dad. And then when I became a martial artist under Kushida was taught us that samurai dislike money. Money is a dirty thing that only their wives take care of. They don't touch money. Now, he was a liar, but I didn't know that till I was nearly 30. Only thing Kushida cared about was money. He did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
us young kids, we worshipped him. So I wanted to be like a samurai.
Mm-hmm.
So I was imprinted with lack, programming against money for 27 years minimum. Now it took me, when I finally met Dr. Habersky, who began to get rid of my cognitive dissonance, it took 8 to 12 years of continual to erase 27 years of negative programming. You got to find all that stuff and remove it. I shortcut that now with my methodology, because I can go I go a different route.
Straight to the source.
So cognitive dissonance is based on the ratio. Frontal cortex has the power of 1. The subconscious has the power of 1 million. 1 to 1 million. 40 bits of information, 40 million bits of information. This operates a maximum of 5% of the day. This is all science. This operates 24/7. So it runs everything. So what we do with, if you have an idea and a plan as an entrepreneur, and you somewhere in the back, in the subconscious that you don't know, there's a little imprint that says you can't do that. You will never be able to do that.
Wow.
And that's what when we say you feel blocked. You are blocked. You're blocked by an enormous power ratio. 1 million says you can't. 1% says I want to do that. That's so all I do is I go in for you. I find the sentence that says you can't do that, and I eliminate it.
Yeah.
Now the subconscious will endorse your idea, and you can rock and roll.
Wow.
And I'm the living proof of that, folks. I used to be as poor as a church mouse, irregardless of my titles or skills or any. Couldn't make 5 cents. Now I'm a very wealthy man. And that's because I had my subconscious mind, I had all of the negative stuff blocking me removed. That's how that works.
That's awesome. I'll definitely have to have a quick word after we get off the
Sure,
recording and stuff.
sure.
Now, see, now it's starting to make sense. It's now starting to click. I'm starting to see it. I'm visualizing it like Nikola Tesla did with his inventions and stuff like that. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
seeing it. And yeah, it just that was one of the things that I always learned when I got into the whole metaphysics and started learning and getting my degree in metaphysics is these blocks that we put ourselves in, this cognitive dissonance that we hijack ourselves with. And like you said too, some of that isn't our fault. It's this energy, it's
Oh,
these
yeah.
frequencies from before we were even conceived.
Yeah, a lot of them are like that.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
But we're also to blame too, because there's times people always, I hear people say, well, if only I could do that, or if only, it's like you're saying the wrong thing. You got to say, I can do that. If you say I can rather than I wish I could, you might actually change reality. So
It's true. At least it's true to a certain extent.
yeah, yeah,
Because because you can, but see, if there really is a dissonance there,
hmm
even though they say that's why affirmations, they won't work if there's a dissonance.
hmm
So the trick with the it's the programming. People, we human beings are designed just like a computer, very easy to program,
yeah,
and the subconscious is invisible. So it takes a fairly conscious person like yourself to be able to see or discern those things. One of the ways that you can try to see your subconscious, folks, is you have to look at your surround, because that's your subconscious printout. What's your home look like? What's
yeah,
your car look like? What are your friends like? What's your job like? What is the degree of health in your body? Is your body all full of pain and you take all kinds of stuff, the pain doesn't go away? The body is talking to you. So that's the subconscious mind.
hmm
And then when you change the subconscious, what you see around you will change. Period. It'll
yeah.
just change.
It's kind of like as I see it too is I think Alan Watts talked about this several times. It's like that separation between the I am and the
Mm-hmm.
ego.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Watts was had a level of enlightenment, and he was a very famous man. I like Alan Watts. The
yeah,
top enlightened guy that you can access any time to listen to a fully enlightened person is Eckhart Tolle.
yeah, yeah. Eckhart,
He's actually enlightened.
yeah,
That's a different ball game. He
yeah,
Enlightenment is a state of being, and below enlightenment we're in a state of doing. So
yeah.
it's very, very different.
Man. Now people can go and learn about your services, learn about your work, and I would assume schedule a
Oh
session
yeah,
with you through your
I
website.
schedule everybody myself. You just call me,
There you
get a
go.
hold of me on the website, and then I'll take care of you.
Very personable. That's the way it should be, my friend.
Yeah,
Then yeah.
I agree.
And then they can find you on Facebook and Instagram at Depth Healing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
We put little videos there and post. I have a real nice fella that's my admin, and he handles all that technical kind of stuff, and I take care of the
yeah.
clients.
Now, do you have any apprentices that are working under you?
No, here's the reason why. Like I actually am depth healing, and there's no separation. Many people have asked me to teach them,
Yeah.
but you see, this has been a maturation over 50 years, and most of my masters I study under, like I was 26 years, 21 years, and then I get empowerments, and there's a maturational process.
Yeah.
I have the Reiki. I've done. I'm a mystic. How am I supposed to? How are they supposed to do all that?
Yeah. That's
I can't. I can't pass that stuff on.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I had a sensei for like 50 years, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, there is. If you read William Tiller's work, he's a great scientist and a metaphysic. He was tenured at Stanford.
Mm,
When you're with a great master, and don't make me a great master. I'm a very skilled channel. Okay, I don't have any power or anything.
mm-hmm.
I'm a channel. I'm connected to power. So that's why everything works. When I send you an energy, you receive it in real time. You could be on Pluto. I don't care where you are.
Yeah.
If I see you and send it to you, you receive it in real time, and
Mm,
you can measure that. Bruce Lipton explained that very well in one of his videos. If you take a nutritional supplement or a medicine, you receive 1% of the signal.
mm,
1%. The other 99% is required or lost in the heat of the biologic transaction to metabolize it. When I send you energy, or a skilled Reiki person, a real Reiki person, send you energy, you receive 100% of the signal in real time.
wow.
So because the signal's so strong, the change is immediate. Okay. And where, how do you receive it? On the cell membrane are the little receivers, the little antenna,
Yeah.
millions and millions and millions and millions of them.
Huh.
And then they pick up the frequencies. And your problem is a frequency. When I search for the problem in your field, you can think of it sort of like if we have the Pacific Ocean and we want to find a submarine.
Mm,
We use a sonar, and the sonar can pick up the energetic signature of that submarine. Same thing if if you've been raped, and I ask you for the name of the guy or the circumstances where it was, so I can entangle everything and I can pinpoint it in your consciousness, and then I remove it.
hmm.
I remove it with a destructive interference. Destructive interference waves, if you look that up on Google or something, all it means is when two frequencies meet and it's a destructive interference wave, they cancel to zero.
Cancel. Yep.
Constructive interference waves, when they meet each other, they grow, they magnify. So when I'm working on you, I'm removing whatever is causing your problems, and we're building up your consciousness, your immune system, your field.
Yeah.
And then I seal it with Dsha. Now, what is Dsha? Dsha is the primary source. When I said I'm connected to power, Dsha means that your divine, not mine, your divine, whoever that is or whatever that is going to come through me into your brain directly. Dsha was given by the divine to humanity, the general humanity, in 1987. Now, Dsha has been studied with functional brain scans, and what it does is it lights up the frontal cortex like a Roman torch.
Hmm.
And it starts using neuroplasticity. It starts to disassemble areas in the parietal lobes of your brain that give you fear, worry, regret, shame, those areas just start to disassemble. Any one Diksha will work in your brain for at least 6 months. And I'm a powerful Diksha. I have a strong bond. So the Diksha is very intense. And the Diksha is between you and the divine. So whatever you're wishing for or you want, plus the work that I will have done on you, when I do my work, I remove anything that blocks you from grace. Once you reach a certain level, you will enter the stream of grace. And then you'll live like I live. I live a life now. My life used to be sheer misery, folks, and I lived in the state of rage for 20 years. It gave me breast cancer. I was so angry.
Wow.
I lost my eyesight because I was so mad when I went in to become a doctor and found out that the pharmaceutical companies had bought out all the schools. I hated what I saw. So by epigenetics, I developed very heavy cataracts. And so all of that was handled. But I want you to know I've been there and done that.
Yeah.
I'm not like a guy that was born into wealth and I'm just talking big talk. I lived all of this stuff. I live it now and I'll continue living it. And the way I do everything is through the bond that I have with the divine. Everything. And I teach for people how to make a bond so that they can have the divine as their ally also.
Yeah. Counseling
It's
and kind of instructing people how to maintain.
Yes.
The bond.
It's a lot easier than you think. It's much easier, but you have to reach. Pardon me. You have to approach the divine, and then the divine will come. Just like it says I think in the Bible, if you take one step toward me, I'll take 2 or 10 steps or something toward you. It works like that. It really does.
Wow. That's cool. Huh. Man, I tell you what, we can have multiple episodes.
I'd love to.
I tell you what, man, I could talk for hours on this, and there's a lot of subjects and questions I'd definitely like to ask you. But
Sure,
I only got so much time. But like I said, we can jump back on this and do another episode. A follow up and stuff, part 2.
I'd love to, Paul. I'd really love to.
Cool.
I'd be honored to.
Same here, brother.
That's why I'm doing podcasts, because the world needs a lot of help now.
Yes, it does.
And I've been working. I was sort of hidden for a long time. It taken me a long time to get the maturity to do what I do. And now I'm ready, and I want to help as many people as I can. That's the only reason I'm alive.
Absolutely.
That's what I come here for.
Yeah, we all have a purpose, man. All of us are very, very important to
yes.
the collective.
Yes. And your life, you should be able to live a dignified, proud, happy, healthy life. Not scared, not running around with your little mask.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You stand up big and strong.
Yeah.
If you can't, call me and I'll help you.
Darn right. Darn right. Dr. Kruhly, it's an honor. Namaste,
thank you so much. Ditto. Namaste. That's right. Namaste. That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Seance Radio Network. And until next week, we will see you for another show.